Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. This is what we will do. We already had a webinar this morning for my traders, and then we're doing this one free for you guys in general. Normally, we will have a webinar now, which is at 8 a.m. London time, where we look at trades. So I'm going to start. I'll show you what we do, and then afterwards, if you stick around a couple of minutes afterwards, once I finish the recording, I'll take some more questions and maybe help you somewhere where you're going to look at, right? How much is the course? That's a question. So let me go very quick. Here's what we're doing for you guys. I realize that there are many traders out there who do not have the capital to trade, but they will still trade with small capital. So they might end up having more problems trading by themselves. So what we have decided is we've reduced the cost of the installment, and this is installment. So you're going to pay us just $100 installment instead of $200 per month. That's the minimum. You can pay more if you want. That money accumulates until it gets to the cost of the course, which is $2,500. When you reach that cost, you don't pay anything more. You want to pay out that cost before, it's okay. You can pay it anytime. When you reach that cost, you get full access to the group. You get access to everything we do, all the sessions, live sessions we do daily, all the recordings, the course, practice, training, one-on-one, everything you get access to, including trading with my group, live every day. What you get for this is we're going to give you 2 recordings. We normally give the London recording, which is the one I do now, but we will also give the New York recording. We've started recording the new one for that group. So the New York recording is a following up to the trades that we're looking at. It's not the full webinar, it's just the trades we identified and trades we're looking at. So you would have a follow-up to understand what to do with the trades. In the future, we will try, we're working in some way, it's not as easy as it looks. We're looking at some way to make it live for you. So just like we're giving the free live here, to make all the people who take the installment program come live into the session, where they're not in the group as yet, but they can join those 2 live sessions. So that is the future for you, which means you will get to take the trades when we are taking them live in the thing, and you'll get a follow-up live in the New York session, and you will also get the entire New York session live. So that's the future. I hope that helps you to at least not lose your money. You can become successful with that because traders who joined the group full only a couple months ago are already making money. Although they still haven't completed the course. They have access to the course, they're watching the materials, but they trade with us live. Basically, that's what we do for you, right? That's the best I think I can do. I wouldn't advise buying just a couple of videos. That will not make you successful. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Face the fact. So I would advise you might have to be trading. Even traders who completed my group, they completed the course, they still struggle for a period of time sometimes. So that is why trading as a group helps you, because you get to analyze the chart, you get to decide, you can ask, you can get different opinion in the group. When the guys are trading without me, even when I'm in there, they were going to show me, hey, I see it this way, what do you think? And we will look at it and say, yeah, great. There's no ego in that group. My traders would say, hey, I have a different view from you. What do you think about this setup? And I'd look at it and we'll all look at, you know what, that probably you have something there. I probably didn't look at it that way. Let's look at it that way. Well, if this, then what? So sometimes there are 2 versions, and then we said, okay, if both versions, then what do we do? How do we manage the trade? How do we get in the trade, and how do we manage it? And is it worth taking? So all of that is what you get, if you understand. So you get a lot of, you can't pay for the course and everything you're going to get. It's lifetime. I mean, just think of it, lifetime. And 2 sessions a day. And for my traders, it's 5 sessions a day. Right? Count 5 sessions a day. Count 5 working days a week, 20 days a month, 11 months, count 11 months a year. You don't even have to count 12 months. And see how much it's going to cost you for a lifetime if you're really going to pay for it. You can't. So what we're doing is saying, okay, at least the minimum where we know that, you know, you value what you have. That's the minimum. Let's go. So we're recording. Let's go. Yeah. Dollar index, we were expecting a move down. I think we told you that last week. So this was a good sell for us. And then that drop, we actually got some very, very nice trade last week in the Swiss and the gold and pound and a whole lot of them. Hopefully this week we can get some very nice trades. So what we're looking at now is at this point, you can look at that and say, well, that's a running flat. There's no rule as to whether these 2 has to be equal. But at the same time, you can't make the assumption immediately that that is until you get a setup that says it can go. I am assuming that they might make a more complex pattern, which means it might come lower. So with this sharp move up, if this becomes a flat here, we're going to buy it. Right? Somebody was asking what's the difference between flag and a flat. Well, this impulse already tells me they have to make a flat, not a flag. right? How many different flats you have found in charts? Oh, keep that question for afterwards. You'll retype it. I'll keep all questions for afterwards. Once I finish, we'll do them, right? So what I'm thinking now is that this is going to make a flat, not a flag. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the completion of the flat and trade it upwards. What if they're actually trying to come back to the low before they go? Well, this is a sharp one, and that sharp one by itself can't be all the correction, but it could be a running flat in the making, which means we might get that sharp one somewhere at the bottom here. Can we sell it? Well, the only way you're going to sell this would have been a sell this morning if you were there, and you put that to break in, is if this actually makes another correction like this. Then we will consider a sell to this level, maybe go back up, maybe break here, go back up, make a running flat, drop, and then go back up, right? So those are two options you have immediately. One is a complex running flat for downside, and the other one is they just make a simple flat here, and then we all buy, and this would be the running flat. Which one of those two is going to happen? You don't need to know. That's the whole difference of what I'm teaching from what you'll have for a lot of Elliott waivers. They determine what the patterns are. We don't determine what the patterns are. We analyze it, figure out what kind of patterns it could make, what are the options here, and then decide, well, if it makes this option, what we're going to do, and if it makes the other option, what we're going to do. So that we just wait. Right now, you don't have a trade there, but we have an idea. We have a very, very good idea as to how it can develop. And if it develops one out of those two ways, it will give us the setup, and then we'll take the trade. Very simple. Don't complicate it. Once in a while, it's not going to do any of the things you looked at, and maybe all the analysis you do might not work that way. It's once in a while. You can ignore that part and let that happen without you. Get the ones that you literally analyze, and they're going the way you expect them to go. That is where you make money, right? Let's go. Gold. Well, the first day, the first Monday, we're going to go through everything, and then you're going to see these red, I'm going to put these flags on red, green, depending on what trades we've set up. We already put some this morning. That is from this morning. Every Monday morning, we're going to start fresh, and then we'll continue that to the end of the week. And at the end of the week, we're going to close everything and start back, right? So you will get to follow all the trades for this week and see what happens to them, what we did with them, how we open, how we close. So here's a good example. We're looking at this morning and last week, and we're thinking, well, this could be a flat to go up. If it is going to go up, we're going to buy here. It didn't go up, it actually dropped. Now, if you were there on Friday and you had said, well, it's dropping here, should I sell that? Maybe if you sold that, you're looking at a break even. I would say no, but I'm looking at it now, and instead of a single flag, it's making a bigger correction. See that? It's making a bigger correction, and I'm looking at this as a correction. Down, pull back, go, come here. They'll probably do some corrections here, maybe drop one more, and then go. Do I think this could drop and break the low? Well, if we were looking at a bigger structure, I think it can do that. We can literally break this low because this is the breakout of the structure. But once we break this structure, we assume that this could also go back up. So right now, you're looking at two possibilities. This consolidate here, go back to the top there, make a bigger flat, break the low, and then start going up. That's one option. The second option is it just comes down very slowly to this level, break this low, and then start going up. Both of those is going up, because going up means you're looking at a bigger structure. See, we're at the bottom. These are the bottoms. These are the tops. So we're going up. Do I think this can drop way down to the bottom here? It can, but it won't. Normally, that's not how it behaves. And we don't have a correction. This is the low. That's the impulse. We're in a correction here, and that correction has to go this way. See? You came down from there, you make a correction, that comes this way. You came down here, you make a correction, that comes this way. We're going up, this is the low, we make a correction, a very big one, that goes that way. Now, how deep can the correction go? It can go pretty deep, but because we look at patterns, we're assuming that this is one piece of that pattern. We have to go back up, we have to come back down. So this has to go back up at some point, come back down, and then go. Pretty simple. Now, if it does that, we're ready for it. If it doesn't do that, then we'll relook at it and see, well, okay, what else? What other patterns are possibly happening here? Right now, I don't think there's a lot more happening there. We have a lot of divergence here. If we break that low, the divergence is going to be huge, and that means it could be the turning point. Do we have a sell setup there now? No, you don't. Do we have a buy setup? Well, not as yet. It could be a buy setup, but we don't have a buy setup as yet. We'll have to wait until this either consolidates at this level, or it comes break the low and start to reverse, and then we'll consider a buy. We don't have a setup for a buy or a sell. It might be closer to a sell setup, but it's useless, which means in terms of trading, you'll just let this do what it's doing. Come back to this. This seems to have a better buy setup. This was a sell setup for us on Friday. You can already see that. Right now, we're consolidating in this range. Can we buy this? See, there's a small flag there and there's a small flag here. Can we buy this? You can buy it, but it's not something we will take because this looks like a correction that is going to drop one more here and then probably go back up. So once we break this top, if we do break that up, it is going to drop one more lower because you look at a bigger structure as well, and then you're going to say, well, you know, there's a good chance this is going to go lower. So warning to you guys, this webinar is going to take long because I'm going through details of each one of the charts here, which I normally don't do in our group because we've already done that. So I'm looking at this as a flat, right? I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, go back to the top here, break this top, drop one more here, and then go. In very rare cases, this could take off, which means you get a very deep pullback, but they still go. So what we're looking for is a consolidation here that will come to break this top. If we get that trade, we'll take it, and then we'll see what happens here. Does it continue to go, or is it going to drop? That will be a separate trade all by itself. So come back to the 4-hour. It looks like it's consolidating there in the 4-hour, which means we had this small one. We bought that, close the trade. Actually, there was a small sell, close or break even, and we're looking at this now. On a very low time frame, if you're really anxious, there might be a short sell setup here, a very short-term sell setup. I don't think I like the idea. Right, this coming down somewhere. This piece here, coming down somewhere here. Most likely just breaking this low. Better we wait for the buy. Once we're in this structure here, I really don't want to take a sell at this level. The risk to reward is no good. So we would wait for a buy setup. Can we take a buy setup here? No. Any buy setup, if you think this thing is going to take off like a rocket, put an entry for a buy here. Now, if I'm going to put that, I'll put it as a setup in the making. So I'll put this here. I'll choose this. And that means it's not a trade as yet, but it's a setup we're looking for. We'll consider that setup when the time comes. Right now, this is a buy setup, but we're not taking it because it's inside the consolidation. There's a higher probability for it to come, break this low, then go back up. So let's wait and see. This. Okay, we'll look for a buy setup here. If this breaks out, we'll take the buy, but it's a very short-term trade. We're expecting it to break the top, which is that line you see there. And then we're looking for a big sell. So what I'm expecting this to do is probably go break that top, complete this flat. 1, 2, 3. This was the buy. This was the buy. Wait for it to go there and then drop like this. Can it drop without breaking that top? That would be a contracting flat. Now, contracting flats are very deceiving. You can't really forecast contracting flats because every single move that is making a flat will be a contracting flat at some point, including this. And that is why we sold that there, but turned out it didn't go. We took off the trade, right? So what we're looking for now, if this is going to break out here, we will take that trade. If it is going to drop from here, then we'll have to allow it to drop here, make a flag, and then look for this trade. This trade down will be a much bigger trade because you're going this move down. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you'd remember when we put this trade on gold Australian dollar, we told you there's a very big move in it. That's why we put it. And that big move is not ready. We started trading it from here. We did not trade this up. Only, I think, one trade we took in it. That was this trade here because we know that it's going to come to break this top. That was the only trade that was worth taking. What happens from this point is if this comes, we're looking for this trade down, or if it stops here, give us a flag, we're looking for this trade down. So hopefully this week we get that trade, whether it breaks the top first and then drop, or if it drops from that point, right? If it's a contracting flat, it's going to drop from that point. We'll take the trade. Come back to the 1 hour and see, do we have a sell setup? No, we don't. Do we have a buy setup? Yeah, you can take the trade. Actually, it's a buy setup. It's good risk to reward in the trade because you can put an entry order here. We'll put a stop just under the low here. And if this takes off, it's a trade. If it comes lower, if it breaks through this structure and come lower here, any flag at this level would be a sell. So right now we're looking for a buy setup. We'll put it as a buy and we'll wait and see what it does. Euro. Okay. We don't have anything in the euro. We want euro to break this low, right? It should break this low. It didn't break the low the first time. So we're hoping that we break that low, because by breaking that low, we're literally gonna go back all the way to the top, maybe much higher. Now they can still break the low and drop a lot more. So the best thing to do is to wait for a sell setup if it's going to break the low from here, because it can break the low and fall quite a lot. So this was a sell here when that dropped. Now, and that was the one we were looking at. So right now it's just going like this. It could probably go there. If they're going to drop here, we'll have to wait for a flag or so here to get a sell, and hope that that flag literally dropped through the bottom. Now it can go quite a lot to the downside. If you look at the bigger structure, it can come all the way to the bottom of this structure. See, this can come back all the way to the bottom of this structure and then go back up. See, we predicted that up move. We predicted the down move because we had this here. It's pretty safe. 1, 2, 3, come back down. If you're following me, you would have known that we did that when this was going up, that it's going to come to the top. We thought it would break the top, but it didn't break the top. Contracting flat, no problem. We're at the low. We broke the low already. We can drop some more. We didn't break the low. I don't think we've broken the lows yet. I have to go back and check it. I think we haven't broken the low. This is the line. It came very close, but we haven't broken the low. What I think is going to happen here is this is going to push a little upwards for a flat. We'll probably end up with a flat here. And then if that happens, this would be a perfect sell setup for us. Risk to reward would be amazing. So let's see if we get that to go up. We don't want the buy because the buy is not quite a good buy setup. We'll just let it go if it goes. For the sell, we don't have a sell setup as yet. All right, so if this is going to go, let it go. We don't have a buy setup. The buy setup would have been here. You would close the trade already. Pound, we already put a sell this morning. That sell entry is there. That went on this morning. It can crawl up some more. I can literally see this piece crawling up some more here, but we're not interested in that. We're interested in if it drops. Right? If it drops, where is it going to drop to? Well, this is the bigger picture. Right? This is the bigger picture. This can be all for that running flat, and it can drop from there. If they do want to go back up more, then what is going to happen is this might either climb up some more here, get to the top, and then drop. We'll go with that trade. I'll ignore the buy. The buy, you'll have to have a flag somewhere here before where you can consider a safe trade. The sell, if they drop from there, would be okay. What if they're making a bigger flag in here? So let's say they drop here and then decide to go back up. This should give us break even. And you'll see how we manage that trade. Right? So we're only for the sell. Let's leave it. Let's see what happens to that. Let's see if it goes. Aussie, we also have a sell in the Aussie. Same thing, same structure. Break the low once more and then upside. The bigger structure in Aussie is this. So if this drop, it's only to break the low once more. Break the low here. Break that low, and then we're looking for that trade back up. Can it drop a little lower than that? Yeah, and then go back up. It doesn't, the line is irrelevant. The line is just giving you an idea of where it can stop. It doesn't mean it's going to stop there. That line does not exist. That is a line that we put to give us clue that, okay, we're breaking through the lows, we're breaking through the structure. What's next? So this sell setup is good. For now, we're taking it at this point. Can we change that point? Maybe, yeah. But for now, that's the insurer for it. Take this off, we're already breaking down. New Zealand. This could be a sell setup, but it's too sharp, so we're not putting it. This move up here is pretty sharp, so we'll see if it consolidates more here, go back up, or if it just starts to drop, flag under here would be a sell. One more low, still upside. This is a case where they break through the structure, but that doesn't mean anything, right? So we broke through the structure, it doesn't mean anything. Here's what would mean something. If this actually go back to the top here slowly like this, we'll be careful whether this is a flat, running flat for one more down. See this here? Kind of do this and then drop, right? So we'll be looking forward to whether we're repeating that structure here. Come here, drop one more, and then start going up. This is still a correction, right? This is your impulse up. So eventually this would start to go back up, but this would be a good sell for us, which means Euro can drop, Aussie can drop, New Zealand can drop, Pound can drop. Pound, the bigger structure, there's still more to go. If you remember from the last webinar, when we did the last live, I told you there's a lot more downside in the Pound. Keep an eye on that one. That has a lot to go. We don't have a good sell setup here, and there's no need to put the Pound, the Aussie, and the New Zealand. You can just choose the Pound and the Aussie because they have better trades. It's the same risk. It's dollar movement. Swiss, okay, so it came pretty low. So this trade mostly is for my traders. This is the Swiss trade we picked last Monday. Perfect. And then we got a second trade into it. Absolutely great. And a number of the Swiss pairs as well. So what we're looking for is this going back up. Here's the problem. We are here. That means this could just come here and drop. make a bigger flat. There's more downside to this. I'll show you this again, because if you were following me and all my webinars, you would remember how we discussed this, right? The possibility of this coming back for this trade here. It went up, but it didn't break the top. Now, by rule, it doesn't have to break the top, right? It can come down from there and literally drop all the way to the bottom here. Now, there's also a chance where it's not going down now. This is just making a flat. Come here, make a flat, go back up. Come down back. All right, go back up there, come down back, go back up, and then drop. So we could be doing that for a very, very long time. Here's what we're going to do at the bottom here. If we get a sell, we'll take it. If we get a buy, we'll take it. Both trades we'll just have to manage. So on the buy side, if we're going to take the trade, we have to make sure by the time it breaks the top, you can put that to break even. This is the best place you can put the entry right now. If this consolidates here and come one more lower, we're going to put the entry here for the next trade up. Now, if it breaks the low, we're no longer going to buy it. We'll wait for it to go back up and then we'll sell it, because that's a running flat, and running flats will go down, right? Now, this is a possible formation of a regular flat or a total upside, which means we can retrace this very deeply. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually come like this and then drop. And that is why we are taking the trade. So that's a buy setup. We'll see how that goes. CAD would probably come down some more. We're expecting the sharp move down here. And then from here, we're expecting at least one more up. When it breaks the top, we'll see if we get a trade in it. We don't know if we get a good trade set up. If we get a trade set up, we'll take it. When it breaks this top, that's when we'll be careful, right? Because when it breaks that top, it could go back down, right? CAD is in this structure, which means you've got 1, you've got 2, and we're making 3. There's a good chance it might do this. And when it does that, 2 things can happen. It can come break the low again, or it can just keep consolidating. Can they do that for a long time? Well, if you look backwards, you would see the structure, right? Basically, see this, how long this took? 1, 2, 3. Went up slowly, take a long time. 1, 2, 3, came down here. Remember when we were telling you this might be 1, 2, 3? And it broke the low. Well, once it breaks the low, that qualifies it for the end of the structure, which means as a flat, this is complete. It doesn't mean that's the end of the flat, but the requirements for a flat is there. You can assume that this could totally take off. This thing could totally take off and go back to the top, make a new top. And that is quite often what happens. You get a single wave in this, but it could also be they come here and then they drop, make a new low, and then go back up. And this is going to be a 1, 2, 3 like this, 1, 2, 3 here, and then go back up. It doesn't matter which one it's going to happen. That is irrelevant. What is relevant is how you're going to trade it now. If we get a buy setup, we'll take it. But once it breaks that up, we're going to be cautious about the trade. We'll move the trade into positive and see where it goes from there, right? So right now, we're looking for a buy setup. We just don't have a buy setup in it, not even in the 15 minutes. It's going really slow, but we don't have a buy setup. We'll have to wait for that. Let's go. Yen. Okay, so we sold yen. We took off the trade. Not only this yen, there's a lot of yen. We took all those drops on the yen, took off the trade, came back to the top. And that is not a good thing, because when it goes back to the top now, we're assuming we're making a bigger flat, right? There's some chance here this thing is making a bigger flat. So this trade is an aggressive sell. Why is it an aggressive sell? There's no, this could just come right here and go back up. Or it could come all the way back to the bottom here. What we were expecting is a running flat to form here, which is with this one, making a running flat, something like this, and then go back up. So we're taking the trade. We should already be in the trade. My trader should already be in that trade. It's written as an aggressive sell setup, which means you have to be cautious about it, right? It's aggressive, which means you have to manage that trade with caution. You don't have to worry. Managing the trade caution doesn't mean immediately you jump out of trade, right? So this is, they'll take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to make that decision. And then we will decide whether we're closing the trade or not. You have a stop loss in the case that they decide to go back up really fast. Let's go. Euro New Zealand. Okay, this is going sideways. Pretty much big sideways movement here. And at this point, we'll just have to wait, see if they make a new low. If it just makes a new low, there's a good chance it's still going to go up, because this could be a running flat or an expanding flat in the future. Now, can we look at all of this as a bigger flat in the making here? Possible. That is still upside. So we've decided to ignore this sell, let it do what it has to do. And then if it starts to go up, we'll go with the buy. More interested in the buy because on the daily time frame, that buy is going to be amazing, right? On the daily time frame, if this proves what we think it is, a bigger flat here, by coming down there, then that trade there is the one you're looking for. When you get a flat like this, you're looking for that one, right? When you get a flat like this, you're looking for that move. So if we get a flat like that, we're looking for one move here, maybe correction, go again. Right? So let's leave it. Let it go because the sell is no good. It's not really giving you a good sell. It's not giving you good risk to reward. It's just very slow moving. Leave it alone and we'll come back to that. You're a CAD. It will break the top, but once it breaks the top, you're going to go down back, right? So we traded, if you were following us last week, the week when we did it, we traded this down, this up, this down, and this all a sharp move. This is the one with the most correction in it. So this would likely break the top, but once it breaks that top, we're expecting a move down, a move up, a move down, a move up, and then drop. If we're right about this pattern, that's how it's going to be. If we're wrong about it, it's going to change the structure. We'll figure out the change and we'll trade it. So we're not buying it. Let it break the top. It doesn't have to break this top. It's in the range, right? It just has to break this top. So there's a small trade here to buy. I might be wrong and this thing literally goes like that, right? And this turned out to be a really good trade. But the risk of taking it is that all it needs to do is do this and it can drop. So you measure the risk on the trade to the reward you can get and then say, you know what, this is too high risk. So if we're going to buy anything, we buy something with a CAD or something with a euro. Do we have any euro buys? So far, none, right? So we're going to look at all the euro. There's a buy setup in the euro with a better thing, we'll take it. If there's a buy setup in a CAD with a better one, we'll take it. We'll look at that and then decide, right? Euros, because Euro New Zealand is downside, right? Euro Oz looks like it has a buy setup. It's not complete, and we're still in this whole corrective structure. So even there's a buy setup there, I'll probably let this break out of the structure completely. And then we have this huge corrective structure forming here. So at some point, this will either come back here or go through the top. Above here, we'll wait for flags to buy. This would be a flat. So they'll probably just give you about that and then start dropping. So there's some up move here possible. We'll decide if we take this trade. I don't like this one here again. There are two CAD trades with buy setup that are not really great, which means there's not a big upside that they can go. Euro Swiss. Now, if you want to buy something, here's where you're going to buy it. This should break the low. We should see this come and break the low. This pattern, if you remember, we had these downside, upside. It tagged the top, and now we're looking for that sell. That is the sell you can get. You're looking at this. 1, 2, 3. So this has to consolidate here and break the low. Now, can it go up higher before it comes? Oh, possible. We've seen that happen. So on the 15, there is a buy setup forming here. Right, this could be a buy setup, which means if it is going to go up from here, allow this to come here and put an entry for a buy there. That is what we'll do. But let's say, for the sake of this webinar, we're going to put the entry above the top. And that's an aggressive buy. Why it's an aggressive buy? Because all of this could still be a consolidation, breaking the top and reversing. We will go with the sell. If it reverses, we'll go with the sell. We'll close the buy and go with the sell. It's an aggressive one because this is the 15-minute. This could all happen before New York session comes, and we will not be able to tell you how to manage it. So we're going to put a buy, but we're going to put a very aggressive buy. And the aggressive buy is actually this one. Sorry. I think this is our aggressive buy we're using. That's it. Yep, that's the aggressive buy there. Aggressive sell is the orange. We need 3 green shade colors there. We don't know how to do that. Any one of you know how to do that? Send me a message. How to change those colors to get 3 green shades. So we're looking at the possibility of this coming here, going back up there, and then drop. It has to go down. What if it goes back deeper? Great. We'll take the trade. Euro yen. This should drop one more. We want this to drop somewhere here, make a running flat, and then there's a trade to get to the upside, right? Let's put it like this, 4 hour. We may or may not break that top, but if this comes down the way we think it should come, it will make a small flat here, and then we'll look for that trade to go break the top. Let's see if we get it. Put it in a 1 hour, and let's see if that happens. It's coming down. We're not selling it. We're looking for this sharp move down, that sharp move down here to happen. Come down somewhere here, And once it gets to that level and we think we have the running flat, we're going to put an entry order here with a stop here for that trade. Let's see if that happens. You're up. Okay, it's still a sell. It's pulling back deeper. This one is pulling back deeper. As long as it's, it's still not at the top there, it's still a sell setup. The sell setup will not be under the low now. We're not going to sell it under the low. That's not good risk to reward. We'll try to get it from the top here. We don't have a sell setup. As of now, you can put this entry here, but that's not where you want to sell. This thing is how many pips away? This thing is about, 7 to 9 pips away. We'll try to get a trade from the top here somewhere. There is no setup for that trade as yet. But if we do get the setup, we'll take the trade from the top there going down. We're expecting this to go down more and go quite a lot more because this is the up move. You can see that. You've got a 1, 2, 3 up. You've got a 1, 2, 3 up there. You've got a bigger one here. 1, 2, 3. You've got a 1, 2, 3 up there. So that leaves you with a 1, 2, 3. This consolidation could take a longer while and then it can drop, or it can drop right now. That's why we put the entry order. It's either going to drop right now, or it could take a while before it drops. So as long as it's consolidating there, we're not interested as yet, but we'll keep this here. We'll try to get a sell from the top. Maybe it will stay here longer. And by the end of the week, we get a trade. Vamos. Okay, you're getting a running flat at the top here. You can see this is trying to make a running flat here. That's what we were expecting. Go back. See, we already have this line here. You got a sharp one there. You've got to move down. You got a slow move up. You get this come back here. That's a buy setup. Where would that take us? Well, let's see. Back to the top. Maybe back to the top here. One more spike to this level, but then they'll have to come back down, right? Because this is the sideways move we're in. And this is not going anywhere. This might be the most, this whole piece will still be the most corrective part. The buy is a big risk. The buy is a big risk because all they need to do is break that up and come right back here. We're going to be in this flat. Okay. 1, 2, 3, deeper correction. 1, 2, 3, come back here before you go there. So this is going to be a big corrective structure in here. The sell from the top here would be a better deal than buying it. Let's see if we get a better buy. Can it drop from that level coming down? It could, but I don't think they will drop from there because this looks like a very good running flat. Let's see if we get a better buy setup at the bottom. For example, if this stops here, go back up, make a flag, it will buy this flag to break it down. With a stop here and a flag like that, you'll get a good trade risk to reward. So let's wait for that. Pang Yen, it's already a buy. It's an aggressive buy. We might want to reconsider using that as the top. Okay, these two are sharp waves, so you have to be careful. If this is a flat in the middle here, then this one is going to go back up. If you use this as a flat here, 1, 2, 3, then that's it. This should seem to break the low and take off. We'll keep it there. We'll keep the entry above that top. There are two options and both options are upside. So let's wait for that trade. See where would this take us? Well, if we consider this the running flat, and there's a possibility that could be the running flat. Remember when we were following this, we were saying we have to get one more down here. I was expecting it to come here, but it stopped short there. That's okay. If this goes up from here, this would be enough for a running flat. It doesn't have to be equal in size. So the buy on this is good. We keep our eyes. If it comes deeper, if instead of going up, this end up coming deeper into this level, well, then we'd assume we're making a flat here, come here and then go. Right, we make a flat like that or a flat like this. This is pretty sharp. It's much sharper than this one, and it's much sharper than that one. So the flat will be bigger in that sense. But if it goes out from here, we want the trade. Right, we're going to take that trade to the upside. Pound Swiss. It's at the bottom, and every time you're at the bottom, you really like it because that's where you start taking trades to the upside. Right, when you're bottom in a structure like this, you start to look for the trades to go back up to the top. First, you're looking for trades to come back to the top here within the structure. And second, you're expecting them to break out of the structure, right? Now, this is the daily chart, so it's not going to go in a single move. You're going to have a lot of flags before it gets to that level. Let's assume for a second that this was all the correction, right? That's a 1, 2, 3 running flat. And this one, instead of breaking out, is just coming back to the top there to continue to go down. slowly to this low before the big move starts up. That's possible, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get it back up and then see if it starts to come down back, trade it down. Every trade you take in there has to be like a single trade because there's no long-term process to this yet. We don't know what the long-term is. That those were very small sell setups. That was a sell setup. These are buy setups to the upside. So you're getting a lot of small trades in here. Can this go up from here? I don't think so. We're breaking the lows, but there's no really sharp impulse to the upside. So even if this comes here, we'll expect one more drop. Then I want to see a reversal impulse, correction, and then go. So we don't really have any setup for the upside as yet, but we prefer waiting for the buy setups here. Tonkat, this was a nice one to the upside. We got that trade, and we're looking for another setup there. So we actually bought this one, and we're looking for the next one up. This one has a very long-term trade to the upside, so there'll be many trades going up. Can this pull back deep to the bottom before it goes? Yeah, it can. We're not interested in sellers yet. I expect it to pull back. This could be a small flag here. This could come lower and then go. It could even come here and then drop a little and then go. I think they should come up first, drop a little and then go. That's why we're keeping the stop, the entry above the top. We'll figure it out. Let it consolidate and then we'll look for the trade. Pound New Zealand. This one is dropping, but it's really, really slow. It's really, it doesn't give you good risk to reward in the trade. Leave it alone. Let this whole thing finish what it's doing in here. All right, come back maybe to this level. It's going to come really slow with a lot of pullback, and then we'll look for a trade to the upside. There is no big trade set up to the downside here as yet. We need to break that up. If we assume this is the one that is dropping, then they have to make a big running flat in here, which means this move has to go there, come back here, go back up there, make a big running flat, and then drop. Doesn't really make sense. All right, that's not how patterns normally develop. If that happens, we're going to come here, go back to the top, and then drop. This will become a bigger flat. So I still think once this come a little late to this bottom here, we're going to go back up, break the top, and then see what happens. So just leave it alone. We expect the downside, but it didn't go the way we expected to go. The trade we took close to break even. And we'll just let this drop and break this low and then see what happens. Aussie yen. Okay, it's back at the top. We're looking at this as a big correction for downside. There is no sell setup. It's consolidating at the top here, so we can't take any trade there as yet. We'll have to leave it with. I'm expecting them to come back to this level, make a running flat. So this should probably drop to somewhere here, make a running flat, and then go back up. I don't think we'll buy there until we can confirm that this is a smaller flat or something of its own, which we don't have that confirmation. So we'll wait. We're not buying it. Wait for the sell setup. Do we have a sell setup? It's an aggressive one if you're going to go with it. Let's see. This is a sharp move downward console. No, we don't have a sell. As a matter of fact, this could go one more up. So I would want this to come here, drop here, go back up, break the top, and then start to drop. That could happen this week. So you can take a snapshot of what we were expecting and see how it goes, what we'll do. So what I'm looking at is this sharp move here. Let me draw the pattern for you. We're looking at this sharp move down, this one coming down here. And all of this is consolidation within that. So at some point, you'd have to get a sharp one from somewhere at the top there coming back here. And if we get that, if it does this, then it created a pattern that we understand. Could it be that within this pattern, this is it? Let's say, for example, that's a contracting flat in there. That's a good question if you ask that question. Is that a contracting flat upside? Well, if it is a contracting flat upside, we still can't buy it. We have to have confirmation that it's contracting flat. And if it's a contracting flat, it has to break the top and make a flag. But by the time it breaks the top, we're expecting to sell it. So the buy setup could only come if you get it from the bottom here to go back up like that. So if you get it from here to go to that, then you have a good risk to reward trade. If not, let it break the top for the sell. So we're going to just leave it alone like that, right? Let's go. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, you're in this big sideways move, right? So for the first time, this one broke the top and dropped so sharp. Any consolidation in here, and I mean like that, would be trading it way down to the bottom, like way down to the bottom, all the way back to the bottom, if we get that consolidation there. It doesn't matter that it breaks out a little, that is irrelevant, but if we start to see that consolidation there, we're going to trade it back to this level here. And then we'll see what happens from there, right? Let's go. Aussie Swiss. Okay, we've got everything. We're looking for a buy back to the top. Remember, we're selling this to the bottom here. Now we're looking for it to go back to the top. Yeah, we actually broke the low. That's good. We have a new low here. We don't have a buy setup. Right, for us to get a buy setup, this has to go up just like this. We thought this would be a buy. That dropped. This didn't give you a buy setup. This was too small, and that impulse was too small. That's more of a flat. We broke the low. Let this go up, make a flag here, and then we buy. Yes, somebody asked about cover crypto. Yeah, like I said, the session will be long. We'll cover crypto. So we're going to go up from here. We're definitely going to go up from here, but wait for the flag. We're looking for a buy setup. And this one should be good because this is the move you're expecting, a big move out of this structure, or at least back to the top of the structure. So this should be a good trade that has happened this week. Any flag we get, we'll start to buy. We don't have a flag. We don't have a flag as yet. Any one of our flag we get, we'll start to buy it. So I'll put this a buy in the making. Let me put this like this. This is a buy in the making. That will be this one. We're waiting for the buy. Now, that is so Aussie CAD. Let's see what we have here. This was a buy in the Aussie CAD. That was a sell in the. No, we're looking for a second buy. Sorry, this was looking for a second buy. It didn't give us the buy there. They broke down to the bottom. So let's see what happens now. It broke this structure. We're breaking out of that structure. But where are we going? Let's see the 4 hour. I have to figure out where this is going. Well, if we're going back to the top, which is what we think we're doing, right? We think this is coming back to the top here. So you can look at this 2 ways. 1, 2, 3, going back to the top there to see either this is going to take off or then this becomes a bigger flat of its own. If that's a bigger flat of its own, we take off this one, right? You look at this as a 1, 2, 3, one piece here, one piece here, one piece there, come back down and then go. But the trade is at least back to the top here. So this is the second Aussie trade that's telling us it's going back to the top. Can we buy it at this stage? Okay, this is the top one. There was a buy setup earlier, which we missed. So the next buy setup is wait for a flag. I'll put it like this and we'll wait for a flag for the buy. Let's get a 1 hour flag. So this could be a buy in the making. New Zealand CAD. Okay, that was a very aggressive buy, and that buy was on Friday. So if you took it this morning, you want to put that to break even immediately because this is very corrective. That aggressive buy was for this small flag on Friday to go up. This was a good trade we got. So let's look at this one here now. Yep, there's at least one more structure to break this up, come back somewhere here, and then downside. That buy, don't take that buy anymore. Let it pull back. If it pull back here, go for that. We can take this trade. Right, then it's one more up and then we look for the sell to the downside. Could this be the start of a bigger move to the upside rather than a flat? Right, sometimes you might think it's a flat, but then it's a bigger move to the upside. That is possible. Okay? If you look at this structure like this could literally come back here and maybe even come back to that level. So if we get a flag or a correction, which means if this pulls back, we'll buy it. Don't buy it now, let it pull back, break the low, come back here, and then we'll look for that trade up. That flat should give us a trade to the upside. We'll put this also as a buy in the making. New Zealand Swiss. So this one was an aggressive sell. Right, this was an aggressive sell. That's why it's that color. That turned out to be a good trade. This was the top, close it. And now we're in the sideways movement of this. Right, this is where we are. At the bottom of this structure. So that is a buy setup we're expecting now, going back to the top. We don't really have a trade for that as yet. We don't have a setup for a buy. We don't have a setup for a sell. This could be some kind of a running flat that goes one more down, and then go back up. We're not interested in the sell. We will be interested in the buy if we get it. We don't have a buy setup. New Zealand yen. Okay, this is already going. I'm expecting a move down like this. So the buy at the top there will have to go. Even if it gives a buy setup, we're not taking that. Let's wait. Even if this is going to make a new high, at some point it has to come back down, right? Even if this makes a new high here, at some point it has to come back here to give us this flat. Only if we get that flat, then it makes sense to trade it. Trading it from the top there doesn't make sense. So let's wait. Go back to the 1 hour, wait for the trade setups. Canadian. We've got a buy setup here. We have a buy setup here. We didn't put that on and put it on. That's a buy. We already put that trade on this morning. We're looking at this flat here that is forming right now. Now there's a chance that this comes deeper to this level here. Then we'll look for a buy from a lower point. But if it is going to go up from there, we'll take the buy from there and then manage it. Right? So what do we expect this to do? Well, go back to the top, come back to the top here, or come back at least to the middle here and then come back down. So there's a good trade if it goes. Cat Swiss. We're at the bottom, so we'll start to look for the move to go back up. We actually have a buy setup. Yeah, we're making a buy setup right now. This one pulled back a little deep into this impulse, but with an entry above the top, if it goes, we can take the trade. Right? If this takes off, we'll take the trade. Because the upside is the trade you're looking for. Right? This is the flat we're in. We actually sold this from here, coming down nicely to this level, and you're looking at a 1, 2, 3. You're looking for that trade up. I can't remember if we sold this. We traded the cat pairs in the cat news, the Swiss pairs in the Swiss news, and I can't remember which way we took this, but this would have been a sell. I can't remember if we took this trade in specific or whether we took the Swiss yen. We took the Swiss yen, I think. There are a number of trades we took there that we're looking at, right? So where we are now, we're in this big flat here, and that means upside, right? This means one more up to this level, break the top, and then go back down. Could it be that this is the low we're trying to go down to this level here? So we'll see. If that is the low, it has to consolidate. It wouldn't go back up, right? It has to consolidate. And any consolidation means making a bigger correction up this here, right? A bigger correction like this to drop. Because this one is at the top, there's a higher probability for this to come here, break the top, and then drop. So that is a good buy setup. We'll put it as a buy and we'll manage that trade as we go. Swiss yen, we already put a sell setup on it. And that is because it's at the top. Now it's way at the top there. And that is why that sell setup is really dangerous, right? This sell setup is really dangerous because this makes a flat. It comes here, it can go right back up, right? When we put it in this morning, we were here and we're thinking if this drops, that's the trade. They actually went up some more. So now we'll have to be careful of the sell. It's still a sell setup, but you have to manage it with caution. Sometimes they do pull back very deep and drop really hard. But this is an all-time high. That's an aggressive trade because it's an all-time high. See? It means as you're going up into this structure here, this structure, it keeps making new high. And every time it makes new high, it tends to drop really sharp, right? So is this going to drop really sharp? Well, there's a good chance it can. If you look back at this, then it could probably do this. 1, 2, 3, kind of that, right? 1, 2, 3 there, but do a 1, 2, 3 here, come back here and then go. So that sell is a good one. It's a high risk trade, but it's a good trade. So we'll put that trade on and we'll manage it from the top there to see what happens, right? Put it in the 50. And my traders, you're managing it with caution. There's a lot of caution in it, right? I don't know if you guys put it higher when it broke this top. That would have been a good thing to do. That was after I left, but we'll see. Let's go. Put this here. Yeah, you're looking for a sell setup. If you sold it here, you did well. If not, you can put a sell setup here. Be careful of this sell setup because this piece looks more like a flat here for one more up and then drop. Right, I'll probably give it one more up, then drop. So be careful of this. Right, it's a sell setup, but you got to be cautious because this looks like a flat. Normally, when you see these two sharp waves, you're thinking flat. Right, you're thinking that this here is a flat, which means I would like to see this go back up one more to this top and then get the sell setup. Then that makes a lot of sense. Right, so wait for it. If you're going to put the entry at the low, you have to manage that with caution. If you're putting the entry for the sell under the low, that's an aggressive sell. So you have to manage it with a lot of caution that it might not, I don't think, I'll be careful. It's going to go back up. These two are too sharp, so it has to go back up. Let's leave it like that. Wait for the upside. Put that up one. Don't take the sell. It's too risky. Let this come back here, and then we sell from the top. Natural gas. If it drops, it drops. You're not in the trade. Natural gas was a sell. This was a good sell at this point. Do we have a sell setup again? Let it make a flag. Then we'll decide if we have a sell setup. Makes another flag, you can sell. Oil, 1 hour. Okay, that dropped again. So we will have to go with a bigger running flat or a running flat, and this didn't break out. So it actually went up, but didn't break, it dropped. So you can sell. Now we'll confirm the downside, the bigger downside. We sold the first one, we closed it, put an entry here, go with a sell setup. Go with the bigger running flat. This one. We had this small running flat, turned out that is a bigger running flat. Go with that option and wait for the sell. So let's come back and see what the bigger picture is. Downside. So the trade you're expecting is this one, right? This is the B part of it. This move down. That's the move down. And when it comes here, we're going to get one more move up and then we're going to drop. Right? So we're selling. This is a trade for one single drop, take profit. Now, can it break the low? Yeah, they can break the low. Flat to be some kind of an expansion in that case. They don't have to break the low, but if it does, that'll be good. So there's a sell setup here, one more drop, take profit. Just one more drop we're expecting. Same should be for this, right? One more drop, that didn't break to the upside. Drop, wait for one more drop here. Take profit, put an entry order for a sell. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, it's making a flag, small flag. We'll go with, but this doesn't have a running flat. You'd have to go with this one, or it will make a running flat in the future. You can go with that running flat. Go with the sell. Keep a stop above this stop. We don't have to live with that stop. My traders know what I mean, right? You don't have to, we're going to get out of the trade way before that stop. PayPal, that was a good sell, close the trade, wait for another sell setup. Tesla, you can put a buy. If they go up, they'll probably just do this and then drop. So you can get a trade to the top there, back to that level. I wouldn't sell here. I'd let it drop some more, then decide. Wait for a pullback and then sell. Amazon, if you're going, okay, this is kind of sideways, let it go back up and then sell, leave that alone. US 30. So we're actually at the bottom of the structure. That's the problem with selling. There was a sell setup, but you got to be careful. It didn't go anywhere. So what you want to do if you're going to get in a sell is you literally want this to go back up to the top here, make a running flat, and then look for a sell setup. Right, that would be a sell setup. So let's put that in the 1 hour. Right, don't sell it here. Wait for it to come back up and then look for a sell setup. If it consolidates in this range for a long time, then we'll consider. Can we buy this here? Not a good setup for a buy. This one, not a good. This one actually has a sell setup. It's a short-term sell setup. See this flat there? What if this is the low? If this is the low, then we are going to go up. But let it come out of this zone. Let it come out of this. Make a flag here, and then we buy. So as of now, you can put an entry for a sell under the low, and same here. You can put an entry. You can actually make this better. You can put the entry for the sell here. Those are short-term sells. Right? This was the sell we took. We didn't sell all three of them. We only sold this one last week. Swiss, sorry, DAX, there's a sell setup here. You can go with this, but the DAX is a sell, take this off. Put a sell setup. It's going to consolidate more because you're consolidating here. You'll probably go up some more and then look for a sell setup. Nifty. By the way, let's come back to the DAX. Can DAX actually go up from this stage? Yes, because we're in this pattern, right? So should we look for the buy setup? We have one, 2, 3. This should come back to the top here. But can it drop one more and then go? Yes. We'll take the sell, see how low it drops, and then decide if you know what we want. Can they break this low? They can break the low. But there's a good chance that they're going to drop one more and then back. If it's going to go up, let's say this is starting of the upside, we don't have a buy setup. You can't buy it the way it is. Let it spike up to the top here, make a flag, and then we'll buy. Nifty, look for a buy setup now. This sell is over, right? The only way you sell this again is if this actually makes a bigger flat here, then we sell. One sell, look for upside. This is more of a corrective structure to upside. If this is the start of the downside, let's say that big flat and we're going to, this would be your sell setup. Wait for that. Let's go. Bitcoin, these are going to be really fast. Bitcoin, we make a low, right? This actually, remember we look at that pattern and there are two options where it can drop, make a new low, go back up, or it can actually go up from there. It went there, made a flat drop. The daily structure is this, right? You're still in this daily structure. So I do think we should start to look for this move up now. Can it make one more low? Well, if they consolidate here again, we'll expect one more low, but then we're going to get that trade. So for this week, we're going to see if we get this or if we get this. One of the two is going to happen. So you go into 1 hour, and every time it breaks the low, you can look for a buy setup. Every time you drop lower, you can look for a buy setup. Do we have a buy setup? Nope, we don't. Right? I'll wait for this to make some kind. This is a sharp pullback. This is a sharp pullback. This looks like a small sell. Come here. If we cut in and we make a running flat like this, we'll put an entry order for a buy there. We're not interested in the sell. We'll go for the buy setup, right? Here's what you're going to do. ADA broke the low. Go back up. Big structure. No, this broke this low. It didn't break the bigger low, which means there's a chance it's going to drop one more. Break this low and then go back up. So everything could drop some more. Dash. Yep. This did break the low. It broke this low as well. So this could be the end of this whole structure. Do we have a buy setup in it? Nope, not as yet. So this was a flat of its own. You can go with that as a correction of its own. You can go with there making a bigger correction here. We'll see what happens in this piece. There was a buy setup here, but that would be a short one. Wait for a bigger correction here and then we buy. If it makes a correction, we buy. If it drops one more, we leave it alone. Let's see. DNB. Yeah, this could probably drop one more. I'll probably go with a running flat here and expect one more. Then we look for the upside. This would also go up, but the upside would be more of a running flat than this one. See, the upside would be more of something like this. When we do get the flag here, if this drop and break the low, go back up, we're going to get something like this for a running flat. One more low and then go, but we can buy it. We can still buy it, right? Let's see what we have here. Okay, this broke the low and it's going up. If this is the start of the upside, wait for the flag. See, when it made this move up, if it made a flag here, you put an entry there, it dropped lower. Can this be an expanding flat and drop one more? Sure. So what would exclude the expanding flat? Make a flag here. And we're buying this back to the top there. And then we look for the drop. If we're right about it going up totally, well, good for you. That's the whole point, right? And from there, remember, they're all at daily lows. These are all very, very low on the daily structure, right? They're very low on the daily structure. You're just trying to find where the bottom is for that big move. You're not buying it for this move. But that move is what gives you break even if it doesn't go. I did it twice, and I'll show you which ones I did it on. I did it once on Linked, and I did it the second time on Sol. I'll show you them. The trades I did. I'm not trading this on a platform. Somebody asked me that question. I'm trading it on Skrill. I had some payments on Skrill since last year. They're stuck there. If you try to take them out, they charge $2 much to get it out. So I decided I'm just going to use it to trade crypto. I just converted, and both times I made profit, right? Not the profit I'm looking for. It didn't double the account, but it gave you, I think it did make in all should be about 8% on the two trades. So I'll show you them. Let's go. This one, we made a new low here. I think in the 1 hour, we do have a new low. Let's see. On the 1 hour, there's a new low here for me. 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody just asked me something. So this is a flat, which means we're going to go lower. This doesn't exist. So you're looking at that move there. You're looking at this move here. This is probably going to go one more down. And then we start looking for the buy. Because I'm looking at this as a flat, which means one more down, then we start buying. Link, this was the one I took. So I'll tell you how I did it. The first trade I took was in here. Because I thought that was the running flat. So this went here, it came back down. There was no chance of getting out for break even because Skrill is miserable in terms of its charges. It's not a platform, they charge really crazy for it. So I got break even by the time it was here, right? And when they pull back here and go, I put the entry order to take me out there. Then I moved the entry order here, and the entry order here, and they actually took me out for some reason here. I don't know why. I think they used the spread above and to take me out there. So that gives me positive. It dropped. I didn't trade this again because it didn't break the low. If it breaks the low, we'll look for another buy setup here again, repeat the process. And let me go to the second one that I trade. And then I'll go through the rest of them. So the second one I traded was this one. And this one was amazing because we saw this pattern. I saw this pattern and I bought it from the second one, which was here. Right? If you look at the 1 hour, I thought they had the flat already, like 1, 2, 3. So I bought it here at the bottom. Right, hoping that this would go out. It did came down a little lower, but I was still sure that's a flat. And when it go out, actually put it to break even and then move it up and move it up. So I got taken out somewhere here. I think somewhere there on the way down on that trade, right? So you got 1, 2, 3 taken out, close that trade, it dropped. This is a bigger flat, you can see that, right? So wait for this to break the low. We'll repeat the process from here again. Why you repeat that process? Well, it's going to go out. And at some point that starts to go out. You'll need a sharp move like this. So this drops one more time here. We wait for the flag, take the trade upside, right? Now, this could be a correction of its own, and this could be a slow ending of the structure to go up. Three things you're looking for in this one. So the first thing you're looking for is, okay, this would still be a running flat. They'll come here and go there and then come back down here. So that will give you enough profit. Or this comes here, make this a bigger flat, come down back here. This would give you, this would at least double it. Or they actually just take off way back to the top here. And that is the trade you're actually looking for, right? You're literally looking, this is a flat and you're looking for this to come back here. But in any case, you don't have to stay with it. I explained that the last time. You don't have to, if you're long-term, and these are long-term trades, you don't have to stay with them. That's the amazing thing of wave analysis, is that you can see that that structure tells you, look, it's not going now. But I just put an order to sell, that's all. And they sold it. So you can take the trade, put it, if it goes, keep going, you will just move that order upwards. Whenever it takes you out, you buy it to the lower point. That's the whole thing. It's very easy. Trading, this is just like, it's just like converting money from one to another. You're not really, it's not spot trading, you're not using leverage. So you want to get it doubled as fast as you can, more often. Eventually, you're going to get 3, 4, 5 times the investment. It has to be a small investment. Treat it only as an investment. I'm not using any specific one. I'm not promoting any specific one. They're all just instruments for me. I'm not looking, say, do this one or do so. Whichever one has the pattern, that is the one we trade. Right? I don't care. And I truly believe that all of this will collapse. You can argue over that we can go over a very long discussion. I believe 99% or maybe all of them will collapse eventually. They're just bubbles that will collapse. Right? Because the only thing that is moving these crypto markets is the fact that there are more people willing to buy it. That's all. That's the only thing that is moving the market. There are more people who are willing to accept and buy it. At some point in time, that runs out. Right? It's not generating a profit. Right? If you hold a stock, the stock either generates a profit or generates a loss. Right? And then the stock either collapses or grows. This is not generating a profit as such. It's an instrument to trade, but it becomes profitable to you if more people invest into it. More people don't invest into it, that's it, it's going to go down. People start selling out and people start panicking, it's going to collapse. For if any reason, any people starts panicking, those who are holding large amounts of it start to panic, it's going to collapse. That's all. Because once you start, when the sell-off starts, it's going to go. You have to make sure that you're not the last to exit. That's all. If you're not the last to exit, you can use it to make money. That's simple. So since we think there are at least one more impulse up before they do collapse, well, let's see if we can get that one impulse up and be the first to get out. Well, maybe not exactly the first, but don't be the last to get out. Let's go. We stopped at link. The same thing with all of them. They all need to make a new low. Now, this one did make a low here. Is that the low? Yeah, that is a low. So if this makes a flag, it could also be that they're making a running flat here and drop one more. But if this consolidates here, we'll consider this to buy and see if that goes back to the top. So it would be XRP. It made a new low. But again, can it drop one more? Yeah, they can drop one more. If it consolidates here, we buy. So within this week, we'll know if we have buy setups, right? The same with this. This one actually made a new low. If it goes here, let's see if we drop again or make a consolidation. Same with this. This one didn't make a new low, so I expect this to drop. See, that didn't make a new low. So even if it comes back here, it could drop one more. I wanted to break this low. It has to break the low before they go, right? So without breaking the low, we're not interested in this one. Let's see this. Okay, this did break the low. If we get a consolidate, the problem with this is it could still also be in here. So you have one to wait. I don't like this piece here. This could drop here. I want it to drop now, break the low, go back up there, go back sharp, make a flag here, and then we go for that trade. Now, this is very likely going to be a flat because this one, you see, this didn't break out. It came down. So I'm looking at all of this as consolidation, which means one more of this has to happen somewhere and retest the low. And this one. We did make a low, but we never broke this low. So we can get a move up. It's going to be a sharper equal to or bigger than this, maybe. If this goes up from here, wait for the flag. Right? If it goes up, do we have a setup where this can go by? Let's see. Nope, not going up as yet. It did break this low, but it's not going up as yet. Let's see if we get a consolidation there and then we buy. Going sideways, still nothing, nothing here as well. This did break the low. Bigger picture, we broke the low. See? So this could make this move up anytime. Let's see if we have a consolidation there. This looks better. It does look better. It broke the low. And if it consolidates here, we can buy this. We buy it, it breaks out of that, you put it to break even. You put an order to sell. So if it keeps going up, you're there. If it drop again, no problem, you're out of the trade. And then we buy lower. You use the same money to buy much lower, right? And this one. Same here. You make a low, go back to the 4-hour. You can do this with all of them. It doesn't matter which one you're looking at. Big picture, this is what this looks like. So if you're going to ask me to look at another one, it wouldn't make a difference. I still think this can go up from here. It can come all the way to this level, make this flat, go back there. It's not like I haven't shown you a flat like this today. Right? You've seen flats like this today already. This is the biggest consolidation in the middle. Go back there, come back here, and then probably take off. Can you trade this up? Absolutely. Well, let's go see if we have a trade setup under 1 hour. Not as yet. It did go up, so it has to prove. You see, all these up moves by themselves didn't prove anything. This one is not proving anything, is it? But if this consolidates here, come back like this, we get that flat, we're buying. Putting an insert above the top of the trade. Let's see. So, okay, guys, that's it. Thank you very much for coming. Please share the link still. It's early. A lot of people didn't know that it's going to be out. A lot of people haven't registered and they might want to come. So if you guys can share it to people you know, traders you know, you might be in a group of traders who don't know this exists. Share it with them. I'd like to see all of you this afternoon. We have a very, very good session this afternoon in New York. You will see follow-up to all these trades that we took. Thank you very much. Bye.